Okay, everybody, here I am, shiny new webcam and all, ready to talk about Final Fantasy 1 and what the expectations should be. Of course, I will do previews and reviews and everything of all the characters and whatnot coming up in the next batch, and I'll probably throw Preen and Rurugia, even though they're not in this batch. Their batch was incredibly small, so it's, a little easier if I just put it all together. But, Final Fantasy 1's coming back, and that's not nothing. That's actually pretty nice that, because if you look at it, like, the anniversary was Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 7 Integrate. The end of December will be JP's usual off-brand collaboration, probably Tactics Ogre, although it could be Nier. It could be a bunch of different games. We also have heard that there might be some anime-style collaborations coming in the near future. Alchemist. Sorry, bit of a cough. But yeah, I mean, there is plans for a lot of different things, and really, if JP players are looking for when the next chance for another collaboration, like a next Final Fantasy collaboration, well, the only real time that's coming up that it could show up is probably like February, and February is a fair ways off, and it was probably not going to be Final Fantasy 1 because it just doesn't seem like there's going to be any new content for FF1. And yeah, I mean, again, this also makes sense since FF1 has been not the greatest seller on JP. And I would imagine that, at this point we can figure out that while Wotv can put out a steady pace of characters, they're not like before where they could just put out 4 characters per collaboration. It seems like those days are fairly gone, with the number of updates for older characters taking up potential valuable retails or development time. And so, with that being said, all of that being said, well, Final Fantasy 1 expectations. What can the average person expect? Because some people out there are going to be hoping, like, oh, maybe Garland's going to be announced, right? Like the big guy, the enemy, like, I mean, they wouldn't just bring... Yes, they would absolutely bring back a collaboration and have nothing to do with any new characters. We've seen it before, and traditionally, when these things are announced on JP, they are announced with the, like, at the time of announcement, basically everything is set in there for characters and vision cards. I can't think of one time in this game where it has happened that they have put it out afterwards an extra character. And it's also because of Brave Exvius. Back when they did that with Noctis and Lunafreya, people lost their minds, myself included, because it did feel a little bit underhanded. Normally, the process is announce a collaboration, tell us all the characters, that way we can plan out, and given that the game is so expensive, it makes sense. So for people who are hoping for an extra character or an extra vision card or an extra anything, I'm going to say that the percentage is so low that it's not even worth really labeling it as 0% because it is just so close to 0%. And even if it does, it's not going to be met with like the greatest of love on JP. Because again, it's been an incredibly expensive anniversary with the announcement of, dream/reincarnations, and the announcement of a secret, like, Garland, who would be a Dark Slash character when already Dark is feeling fairly powerful. It's just nothing here would go over well. It would be like a lead balloon. It would be a very poor choice for Gumi to do that kind of stuff. So, the honest expectation that everyone should go into with FF1 returning is that everything old will come back, old stuff will get improved, but don't expect anything new. Not a thing. And if you do, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's just, you're going to be disappointed because, yeah, Garland's not happening on JP. A new vision card isn't happening. And really, the thing that is happening is enhancements, and specifically to the equipment from Final Fantasy 1. So with Final Fantasy 1 came Warrior of Light's armor and his sword. And his sword's actually still a pretty good get by today's standards, provided that you want to do stuff with the light element. Honestly, I'm expecting the sword to be just a absolute solid investment still if you don't have it already. And if you want to get even more of them, it's probably fairly good. Also getting Warrior of Light's piece of equipment, I think they will get a fine piece of, become a fine piece by today's standards even. Not as good as the newer equipment that's coming out, but good enough that it's probably worth doing a compulsory amount of farming to get these equipment and everything just for your stock. So yeah, Warrior of Light's overall, I think, will just be a good piece of equipment from the event. There isn't any new equipment either, so yeah, there's that. Next up, Warrior of Light himself. And it's hard to say because dream enhancements are kind of all over the place, but we're pretty much looking at Warrior of Light getting, a master ability here as well as a dream enhancement. So there's a good chance, just like the FF7 characters, of getting a fairly big increase. Now that a little bit of time has gone by, honestly, I think that Aerith's upgrade was pretty good. I think that Barrett's upgrade was actually pretty good, all in all. Tifa's upgrade was slightly better than I thought it was, just because it does push her further towards being an evasion character, and she can do it, which is fun. But in general, Tifa, I feel, just ended up getting much better as a unit. Probably my favorite of the FF7s thus far, just because I've seen her used the most, and she feels successful in her upgrades. Cloud also feels successful in his upgrades. So if we're just taking the look of the FF7 characters, which didn't have their master ability before we redid this kind of event, and also getting their dream enhancements, Warrior of Light is probably looking towards something very similar, which usually just ends up looking like this. Warrior of Light will be probably closer in line to, Barrett in terms of how good his upgrade is. But I also don't know about how much hope I really have for Warrior of Light being incredibly meta, because he was pretty far behind and he was just not used on on JP at all. I haven't seen a Warrior of Light in forever, and it'll be interesting to see how far he comes back. Probably his update will be a big deciding factor in that, but Warrior of Light, for the most part, he's gotten the job upgrades. It's just his main job that we're going to see. I think he'll be passable in the same way that Barrett is passable. Definitely can make a difference in fights. Will be a, good choice as a 140 before other units get their 140. But, I just like Engelbert more. He's a lower cost. He is already pretty statty. I kind of just feel like I'm going to end up liking Engelbert more. And I think Warrior of Light's upgrades will be noticeable and in a big way. But again, this is a smaller, shorter collaboration event for a single character that is not getting any new exclusive piece of equipment, even like Barrett. And that makes me a little more dubious about how good he'll be, because it just doesn't feel like they really are going to be putting that much effort into him. So I'm saying basically Warrior of Light fans, I think on Global there's a better chance of him being better. On JP, I think he'll be passable as a 140 over other 120s. But I think he'll taper off quite quickly in the similar way that some of the other dream enhancements are, especially compared to newer characters, which are, always coming out sort of thing. As for this, the Vision card in Esper, I don't think that this will make too big of a difference. This isn't the Crystal Chronicles Fire card, which is something that I would much rather get my hands on. But neither is this really all that bad either. I mean, it's got an Esper attached to it. It's got a defensive Esper attached. And I think over time, excuse me, I've had more, I think more positively about this as it goes on, like AoE resistance, critical evasion, pierce resistance. All of that is generally good and good for Fire's defense, especially because Fire's been getting more offensive cards. It's a fine Esper. I mean, we are not short, it feels like, especially with Dark Ifrit around. So, yeah, I mean, fine, but exciting? I don't know. We'll have to see if this has any secret upgrades to the Esper, because I do believe... I'm going to look this up right in the middle of recording this. Death Machine already does have his 3-star, if I'm remembering correctly. Because I don't actually have him on my account. But yeah, I think it's important that people understand that this is a small collaboration wedged between Christmas units, Another Story 2 units, New Year's units, New Year's collaborations, which are outside collaborations, as well as Final Fantasy VII collaborations. This is like extra content being given out, as well as a chance for Warrior of Light to get his upgrades in a potentially what will be just a really busy season until about mid-January on JP. I don't have high expectations that anything is going to be mold breaking, and I don't think most people should either. There'll be solid upgrades, I think, because so far most of the characters have been getting solid upgrades. Whether or not it's worth the limited resources that most people will be playing with, that we'll have to wait until Friday to find out. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. Let me know how relevant you think Final Fantasy I characters and vision cards will be, and if I'm totally wrong on this. And thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel. Have a great holidays as we continue to march towards, hopefully, Winged Stern on New Year's. Though it's probably going to be some character that starts with R. See ya.